call the meeting to order. Troop 3055 is going to lead us in the pledge.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you want to say anything about your troop? Do you want to kind of give a quick 2 seconds about, or not to put you on the spot, but
I will.
oh.
Okay. All right. This is Troop 3055. They're a new troop in Pleasant Valley. They just formed this year. It's the first girls BSA troop in Pleasant Valley. You'll be seeing us around. We're here to help the community. We'll be doing, once a month, we'll be doing bottle drive at the transfer station. And that's about it. I mean, we'll be doing as much as we can to help the town.
You're doing it this weekend, aren't you?
We are doing it this weekend, yeah, every second Saturday of the month.
Just let people know what you're doing with that.
What we're doing is we're collecting recyclable bottles to help fund the troop, camping gear, mostly camping gear, hiking gear, and help out paying for summer camp, anything really to help the kids out.
Excellent.
Because like I said, we're a fresh troop and we're starting with nothing. And I mean, last week we were 5 kids, now we're 9 kids, so.
And they were very helpful on Earth Day.
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
thank you.
You're more than welcome.
Before we start, Jim Donek had asked me if the troop could stand in front of the flag so he could get a group picture. He's the reporter from the Northern Dutchess News.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you guys want to, you guys can do whatever. If you want to stay, feel free. If you want to head out, feel free.
Well, we're going to go and work on some more scouting. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Bowler, you're on.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay.
Thanks.
Okay. I'm Greg Bolner with CPL, and came to the town board tonight to make a brief presentation on the relocation of Town Hall. In April of 2018, the town of Pleasant Valley completed the seeker, completed an environmental site assessment, completed an engineering assessment of the building at 1903 Route 44 in the town of Pleasant Valley, and also passed a resolution at that time to purchase that building. In March of 2020, the town of Pleasant Valley signed the contracts with New York State to secure the $867,753 Climate Smart Communities Grant for the relocation of Town Hall from this location, which is in the floodplain. So that's what that grant was for, is basically to relocate Town Hall. In April of 2020, CPL performed a needs assessment to document the needs of the town. So we interviewed people in the building department, in zoning and assessing, and the various courts to see what their space needs were as far as office space, file space, etc. At that time, we, based on the needs assessment, we estimated that the town hall needs was approximately 13,000 square foot of building space. That would also include the meeting space here and also the courtroom. And the existing town hall building here is about 7,000 square feet, and the building at 1903 Route 44 is about 18,000 square feet. So that building is a little larger. However, the upstairs of that building is all 7 to 8 foot, between 7'10" and 8 foot ceilings, so it's kind of a low ceiling on the upstairs area. On the downstairs area, it is a little higher ceiling, but I still think it's around 10 to 11 foot ceiling height, as opposed to, I think in here we're at about 18 foot ceiling height. In August of 2020, CPL prepared a cost estimate for approximately $6 million, assuming construction of a new town hall facility to be located at the undeveloped Redle Park site, which is a property owned by the town. So it wasn't so much committing to that site, it was more committing to a site that was owned by the town, and then looking at what it would cost for the infrastructure and building there, a new building there. So the higher costs reflect the site development costs associated with developing a new site. So you have the subsurface disposal system, well, you've got the parking facilities that you have to create, driveway facilities into the site. So there is quite a bit. Because it would be a new site, you would have all of the stormwater management practices that would be required for a new site under the current regulations. Also, in August 2020, CPL prepared an estimate of about $5.1 million, assuming demolition of the existing building at 1903 Route 44 and construction of a new building on that site. So you take advantage of the existing infrastructure there, the parking lot, the subsurface disposal system, and the wells. So that reduces the cost. The assumption on both of those was that the building costs were the same. So we had looked at basically one cost estimate for building costs. The two numbers, the difference between the two numbers is basically the cost of the infrastructure for a new site versus an existing site. And this year, CPL provided a cost estimate of approximately $4.3 million for renovation of the existing building at 1903 Route 44. The original engineer's estimate was incorrectly underestimated by Casey Engineering as about to $2.6 million. We're looking at that as being about $4.3 million. The biggest disadvantage of renovation of an existing building is there is the greater potential for cost overruns associated with unforeseen conditions. Once you start getting into the walls and things, you potentially find things that you may not have anticipated. And then also at the end of the day, the base structure of the building would be a 30-year-old building. It was built in 1991, so we'd be looking at renovation of a 30-year-old building. So that's basically kind of summarizes the options to the town as far as renovation of the existing building at 1903 Route 44, demolishing that building and building new, and then also the possibility of building a new building at a new site. Any questions?
What was the cost altogether for a new site, like at Riddle Park again?
6.0 million. So that's for new building at Riddle Park, yeah.
Right.
And we, like I said, it's a property that the town owns, so that was a property that we used as being a potential site that could be developed into a town hall facility.
So the 5.1 and the 4.3 million do not include the purchase price then?
Correct. Correct. So yes, that is correct. So the purchase price.
In the long run, at Riddle Park, we would be getting a new facility, a new building, and not have to worry about a lot of high maintenance on taking over something that has been there for 30 years.
If you can sell the existing building, that definitely puts you in a position that offsets, because it's about $900,000. So if you look at the $5.1 million, $900,000 puts you at $6 million.
Right.
So the $5.1 million for demolishing the existing building and building a new building there versus $900,000 roughly applied to that puts you at the $6 million.
Greg, just to correct that, the 900,000 is coming from where? The
Oh,
sale?
no, right, and that's rough, because I think it was a purchase price of
No, it was,
850.
750, I thought.
Oh, 750?
yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, then I'm off on the
And
number.
that's assuming that we can get that much.
That is correct. That's why I said, if you can sell the building,
Yeah,
you could apply that towards that. That's a big if.
Unfortunately, we've had some interest in the building, and we can't meet the price, it doesn't
Okay.
even come close. Well, it does, well, not really close. So that's kind of a wishful thinking to get 900,000 out of that place.
Greg, what would you say you estimate that today's pricing, what would you estimate that building is worth?
I did not look at that. That's not something that, I mean, to me, that's a market thing. It's not a engineering or architectural estimate of the
It's
building.
assessed for 700,000, John.
It's assessed.
It's assessed for
Yeah.
700,000.
Market value at this point in time.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, the $867,000 was a Climate Smart Community Grant, and for whatever reason, I had it in my head that was about the cost of the building, but I don't recall what that cost was.
Any other questions?
At this time.
Well, thank you, Greg. I think that gives us food for thought here, and because everybody's been asking about that building, and so we have to give them some direction here.
Yep.
And so now that you've presented this, we can discuss it amongst ourselves and see if we can come up with some plan,
And just to let the town board know, I've been keeping up with the reporting on the Climate Smart Community Grant, or
Every quarter you have to
Anyways.
report that, yeah.
so, because there are quarterly reports that have to be done, which are an hour
Yeah.
worth of time. It's not a big deal, but I've been keeping up with that, so we're current on the grant. There's no issues with that. And the grant is primarily for the relocation from this site, so it's not necessarily tied to that site. It's simply the relocation from this site, out of the floodplain. So you can't go into another site that's in the floodplain, but
Right, you gotta stay out, yeah,
that's the intent of the grant, is to move you out of the floodplain.
right. Which makes sense, okay. Thank you.
It says here he's going to speak on Helen Aldrich Park improvements.
Oh, you want to give us a little bit of on Helen Aldrich too?
So for Helen Aldrich Park, we had done kind of a conceptual plan of what would be, the overall goal of the project, or the overall future of the project. So we looked at a pavilion, we looked at a bathroom facility, we looked at a community center. So we kind of laid that out as the potential to have that built in phases, where you could build the bathroom facilities first, you could build a pavilion bathroom facilities, a kitchen facilities, a pavilion, an open pavilion, and then a community center, and kind of laid that out as how it could be done, not saying that needs to be done, but just as a master plan. So we had looked at drilling a well for providing the water supply for the facilities into the future, also a subsurface disposal system. We did do some minimal work. We did some perk tests, and the highway department, thank you, John, dug some deep tests that were witnessed by the health department for a subsurface disposal system, which would be between the baseball field and Salt Point Turnpike. So in that open area there below where the gravel parking area is. So we did kind of identify that. So then, the next steps would be to get those facilities approved through the health department and get some design in for bathroom facilities that could be constructed. We originally had looked at some pre-engineered buildings to meet a time schedule. I think now we're missed that schedule, so we could look at stick-built facilities.
The one that you sent Sandy.
Yes.
Plans that wasn't, I think she liked.
Yes.
And forwarded it over to me, so just as an FYI, that's not, I think that was everything that the rep was looking for at this time, so.
Yes, it's two bathrooms, two small bathrooms. I think it's got 2 toilets in each bathroom, and then a small concession stand area. It's actually under construction. It's Spackenkill High School now. So it was a building that we had designed for Spackenkill High School for their new sports facility there that they've got, or football field. I guess sports facility is.
Greg, have you done an RFP yet?
No, for
Any
buildings.
bids or anything?
No.
No, nothing like that?
No. Obviously for that building we did, but not anything for the town of Pleasant Valley. We haven't done any RFPs for constructing any facilities. We got cost estimates from vendors on pre-engineered buildings, and we used basically the bid cost for the building that we did at Spackenkill. We provided that information to the town as an idea of what that cost.
As an idea.
So the next step would be putting together a bid package.
Correct.
Okay. Any other?
I'm sorry. How about keeping the look of everything up there as far as instead of doing a whole bunch of different buildings so it looks like a patchwork quilt? How about the building that was built up there for the storage with the metal roof?
Mm-hmm.
And then planning for the future to use the same metal roof and the colors on the pavilion that's there. Not pavilion, you call that, yeah.
Yeah,
outside.
yes.
And then doing the same kind of thing for the bathrooms, and then doing the same type of design for the bigger space.
Well, that's kind of what we had looked at, conceptually, what we had laid out, because we had looked at if you did the bathroom facilities, and then kitchen facilities and pavilion, and then built a roof over the kitchen and bathroom facilities along with the pavilion, it would make it basically one. Because probably if you did a kitchen facility, you'd do it potentially at the same time that you did a pavilion, so it would kind of be as one structure. And the way that we kind of laid it out in that concept plan is that there would be a breezeway between the bathroom facilities and the kitchen facility, but they would be, I'm sorry, I didn't bring that plan, but they would be basically next to each other, baseball fields here, and then you would have your pavilion to the, I guess that'd be to the south of those two structures, but you could have it as one roof structure, one roof line. is what you're kind of saying, so it doesn't look
Yeah.
like, it wouldn't look, you could make it to where it doesn't look like it's pieced together.
Right.
If you think about it going forward as to how you're going to piece it together, then when the pieces come together, it looks like it was intended to be one structure.
Now, that building that's up there is kind of like a Morton building.
Correct.
Used to call it.
Yes.
Can we use that type of a concept for the bathrooms and the other building?
That building is really a pole barn construction. So from a pavilion standpoint, that's fine. But from a kitchen facility or a bathroom facility, you would be required, in order to meet the building permit, you would be required to have something with footings and slab. So it wouldn't, I don't know that you could really, I'm not, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Yeah, they can't make a full barn into a bathroom. Because the bathroom would actually require like a real footing or slab and grade or something like that.
Because a pole barn is,
The buildings look the same, but we can't do the same
So you
style
can't do
build.
that for the same.
right, you can make them look the same, but the style of construction for a pavilion or a pole barn,
Okay.
you only have the footing at the poles.
Okay.
But there's no linear footing.
Okay.
And you would have to, for a bathroom or kitchen facility, to meet building code, you would have to have a full footing underneath the structure.
Okay.
So it is kind of a different construction type. And then also,
You realize that with the bathrooms and stuff.
yeah.
So just refresh my memory real quick. So we're throwing out the whole idea of the prefab building coming in, correct?
No, we would probably look at both, but the prefab building, typically, I think you could get something a little more cost-effective going with a stick build. And then the building that we have over at Spack-and-Kill High School, it is, a CMU block building. It's a typical, what I would call a typical municipal-type building. It's not a wood frame structure. You could go with a wood frame structure that would substantially reduce the cost from what that building is, but then you look at the life cycle of the structure.
So another question. So now that time is no longer the problem because we were trying to get that quickly, right? We now have an option, maybe looking into possibly the green toilets, correct?
You could look.
Thought process on that?
Yes, so you could look at green toilets. I think you're still looking at, because of the health department requirements, you're still looking at having, you would probably end up looking at more of a low, like a, what do they call it? Well, not just the low, but also with the urinals, where there's a tank, a waterless urinal, to where it reduces the amount of waters that's used in that. But I don't know that.
Well, Ellen Kuttner, who is part of the Smart Climate Committee, has been working with Sandra on that.
Okay.
So they are on top of that.
So I don't know if you're looking at like composting toilets, and I don't know whether or not that could work in a municipal Department of Health approval system. Those are typically more for like, forestry park type environments where they're low use. But if you had something, because you really have to look at it, especially if you're thinking about it in the future. I mean, we were looking at sizing it for about 150 people per day. So it's a pretty substantial sewer use. Because if you had a event out there where you had, or if you have day camp and you've got 75 boys and 75 girls, you're looking at 150 kids in camp.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm just saying because we don't have to rush now. We could take our time and maybe really think into the future.
Yep.
Is that an option you could be able to present or have it?
We could look at that. We can look at that, definitely. And I can research that with the health department, because that's going to be the trigger, really, is whether or not the health department's going to allow it. Because if they're going to say no, then that's whether it can technically work or not, it's whether it can get approved by the health department. But I can check into that easily.
So when will we have an RFP on this?
That, right now, our focus has more been on getting the approvals for the subsurface disposal system in the well, but we could probably have an RFP together. We're, not being in a rush, we're probably looking at 2 to 3 months. At this point, given the timing, putting something out to bid in the late part of the year is sometimes a good time to bid for construction, because now a contractor is looking at bidding work that's going to start in the spring.
Right.
For next spring?
Yes,
We're already in spring.
right. But if you're looking at, 3 months from now, you could, it is the Northeast, so, to have a construction start in October, it gets to be a timing thing.
Go ahead.
Now, I have a question. You were saying about starting construction in the spring of next year.
Well, it depends. We can push on that, but again, I guess it really just comes down to winter. When I say spring, you could be looking at March or February.
Well, this puts
But-
me back into the question of, so now next year we
Your
won't
June.
have bathrooms for the camp?
No, because I don't think you're looking at a 2-month construction. You're probably looking at a month construction on a building. And then a lot of the stuff like the subsurface disposal system and the well, that can all be done in advance.
Right, that can
Yeah,
be done,
that's-
yeah,
Well, we had kind of
Right.
talked about
that saves a lot of time.
that, yeah.
Because you're looking at about a 15 by 20, 25 building. So, you're not looking at more than, month and a half construction time frame.
Yeah, because I hate to lose another.
Right.
year. Yeah,
Yes. Sorry, I'm not speaking into the speaker.
Oh, it's all right.
It could pick you up.
Okay,
Picture, yeah.
okay, good.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Glad to see you're feeling better.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay. Item number 1, permission to auction highway inventory. We just need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we, say again?
Oh, that's right.
Well, no, what do you mean we gotta open it? We do that at the end.
We open at the
Did
end.
we open at the end? Yeah.
Well, that brings me up to a question. Why do we keep moving that?
Well, so the idea is being that the audience would hear us comment and then comment on our comments. And
I get that.
if we open up the meeting now, they can walk up to the microphone and not have any idea as to what we're talking about.
But they can speak to what's on the agenda.
Yes.
And we can listen to what the people say first, and then make a judgment as well. I think that's fair.
Well, if you want to,
It's been moved several
It's
times.
been
Oh, it's a shell
because
game.
of
People wanted to hear about it first, and then,
So we've
I
been
have-
holding our workshops like this, and then at the board meetings, we've been having the public comment
I
portion
have-
before we vote for the idea of,
All
right.
right, but we have resolutions here on a workshop, so,
John, I have no problem with moving it to the beginning of the meeting. How about the rest of you?
Well,
I mean,
I
we-
kind of,
I think it should be at the end.
I kind
I
of
honestly-
like it like this, because then they get to hear what's going on, and then they can come up and talk about it.
But John does have a point. We are voting on resolutions to put money, move money around.
Well,
so,
why, can't we just move that for tonight?
you want to move that after the public portion?
Yeah. And
so
then
open
they
the
can
meeting
hear
up to the public before resolutions, correct?
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
Everybody all right?
that.
And then go back. Okay.
Okay, so let's be
All right,
clear.
so I'll make a motion that we you have to do anything special to auction this stuff off, John?
No, I just need the approval
To advertise?
to list the stuff with the auction house,
All
to
right.
have it auctioned.
So I'll make a motion, giving John the approval to, set forth the motion of auctioning off this equipment.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Number 2 is the Eagle Scout project at the Highway Garage. John, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, I'll just give you a quick, rundown.
So for everybody who's familiar with the transfer station, the Eagle Scouts have a Quonset hut in the back where they collect newspapers. I'm just going to pop this down. Next to that, they have a 53-foot box trailer that they stack the papers in, which is taken out when it gets filled to a certain level. So what the Eagle Scouts want to do is they want to level the spot next to where that trailer is so they can get 2 trailers in there. Reason being is because right now when the trailer driver comes in, he brings the old trailer in, drops it off, picks up the empty trailer, pulls it out, drops it off, picks up the new trailer, backs it into a spot, drops it off, picks up the other trailer, and takes off. If we could help him and they do this project to make that, he could just back the second trailer in, pick up the full trailer, and he's out in 10 minutes instead of like 30. So that's what they would like to do. So it would just take, my understanding is that they have a lot of stuff that's getting donated by the quarry, as far as like the mafia blocks and stuff that they would need to stack to make the wall so that we could put the retaining material in there to flatten that out so the driver could get in and out of there with the trailer. That's basically what that is for. It's for the Gentleman's Eagle Scout project. So he's got to work on this time management and how to manage people and crews and money and all this other stuff. So, and for anybody who doesn't know, we've had them do a lot of stuff for the firehouse, and it's always been a pretty good success. So I feel comfortable that this would be just as successful.
When are they going to start?
Well, basically, once the board gives the okay, because like I explained to them, it's your property. I just manage it, so to speak. So once you guys give the okay, then they can start pretty much whenever they want. It's my understanding he already has all the proper okays through the Boy Scout, through the association, and everything he has to do, and the Eagle Scouts and all those folks. So I think they're pretty much ready to go. Any questions?
Well, I think you brought up a safety concern. How?
Yes, but I had a conversation with the highway superintendent about it. I expressed my concerns because certain days of the week, that is a very dangerous environment down there, with heavy equipment moving around, et cetera. But John assured me that the young man will not be working on those days. He will only be down there when things are quiet, so we don't have to worry about a Boy Scout being squished by a backhoe.
Correct, and I've had some of my guys who are machine operators offer to volunteer their time on days like when the mafia blocks show up to actually run the machine, and put the blocks where they need them, and obviously we'll practice all safety concerns and protocols, as far as that's concerned as well. Yeah.
My only other question is, do we need a resolution accepting the donation of whatever work they do?
That was actually going to be my question too, because it is kind of a donation.
It isn't, yeah.
And that was the other thing. So the quarry's going to donate the material, I think, to the Boy Scouts, but I don't know if that's a gray line for you guys or how that works for you guys. So that was also one of my concerns.
I think you do have to have a resolution just for
Yeah,
the kind
I think-
of,
Okay.
kind.
I think we'll have Paul or Sandra.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't want anybody to get in trouble or, yeah, okay.
I don't think anyone has a problem.
No, I don't think so
No.
either, but I think it's just.
Right.
No, if we need a resolution, let's try to get it done so that we can vote on it at the next meeting, and everything will be legal, and everybody will be happy.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, number 3, copy machines.
Yep, so Gary first reached out to me from Building and Zoning saying that the copy machine in there is not functioning properly. They wanted me to look at it, albeit I own a print shop, but I am not a copy machine repairman. But I know we kind of went down this road, I think early March, and then COVID hit. We did talk about getting new machines in here, new copy machines for both in here in Town Hall, planning and zoning. recreation, and now highway, just for the pure fact that our machines are getting older. They do require some service. They're no longer under contract in the sense of we buy toner, we have to pay a service agreement. So Mary reached out to Atlas Star and to Canon. Let me just pull those up real quick. Thank you. So Atlas Stars, who we currently have, they offered either a 40-month or a 60-month lease for one bigger machine and then two smaller machines, but all these prices are going to have to be amended because we need a third smaller machine for highway. But their prices were, for 48 months, it was $325.19 a month, or for 60 months, it was $266.06 a month. Those include 8,000 black and white pages per month. Oddly, the Atlas Star does not include any color, which is interesting. Anyway, so the price per click after our overages would be 1 cent for black and white and 7.5 cents for color. For Canon, it's slightly cheaper on all fronts. The 48-month lease is $308, and the 60-month lease is $263. And the Canon color click is it's 0.0709 cents overage on color, and it's 0.0084 cents for black and white. And again, that's 8,000 total clicks, color or black and white for the entire town, which again, we'd have to change this slightly because I think we'd have to bump that up to 10,000, adding another printer. But
I have a question. I was here when we purchased one for recreation. It's only 3 years old. What's wrong with that?
I know it's not under maintenance.
it's not under the maintenance contract. We must have purchased it used.
Yeah, they have to pay for everything.
Like, we have to pay for clicks, we have to pay for toner, we have to pay for service, we have to pay for all the consumables. And in this all-inclusive price is everything. For that so if we went with Canon per se, for that $308, it breaks, we pick up the phone, repair guy comes, we get no bill. We use under 8,000 clicks, we get no bill, besides the $308.
So this is just for repair and just for...
This is for the whole thing, this is for
service.
This is for the machine and the service.
You get machines, brand new machines.
Brand new machines.
So we're talking zoning, town hall.
Zoning, town hall, recreation, and highway.
Rec and highway.
Mm-hmm.
Not to bring it up, but what about a scanner for the bookkeeper?
Well, so she could use, the new one that'll go in the hallway here will have the scanning capability,
Okay.
same deal. Or,
Yeah.
we can ask them if they have a high speed, so the scanner she has is a flatbed, which I know does not do her any good because it's one at a time. But we could always ask them if they have a high speed scanner, but the new, I've worked with Canon before, the Canon products, that scanner, I can vouch that it's quite top notch and quite fast. I think that they would be just replacing upgrading the same machine that we have. Atlas Star would be upgrading to a newer model of the same machine we have in the hallway. So if everyone is, I think we have to just get new numbers because we have to, like literally John was like, mine's broken too. Oh, okay. So we'll call get new numbers, but I think with everyone's slight okay, we'll have a resolution ready to approve it next meeting.
Well, don't we have to have we should really see like a cost analysis of all of them combined. Like for instance, you already mentioned an Atlas, right? $325.19 per month.
Mm-hmm.
And how much was Canon's?
$308.
$308. Is this a bid item?
Both are Omna or OGIS partners, so no, it does not have to go out to competitive bidding.
Yeah, we already have numbers with them.
And currently, we do not have a service at all, correct?
We do have service with Atlas Star, but it's pay as you go. So like if the drum breaks, we have to pay for the drum, then the service behind it, and we buy the toner.
And we buy the toner, which is $119 for
Yeah, I know what
color
they cost.
and $85 for the black and white. And we go over every month on the billable copies.
Okay, well, I really like to see it laid out. I trust that you're you give me the right figures. I mean, I do want to
Well,
see.
these figures are just,
Before we.
These are just figures just to rent the machine, or just to lease the machines.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see the proposal.
well, why don't we do this? Why don't we contact them and get the current prices?
So these are current. I mean,
These are
like,
current?
these are current as of this week. It's just,
I just got them.
it's one desktop machine shy for highway, on both accounts.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Just to give you an idea, Johnny, the toner alone was $289.95.
Yeah, I know, I remember the toners we used to have at the other thing we're paying it, I get it. But I still would like to see the proposal, so I mean, I'm not voting on something blind again.
Well, we're not going to vote on it tonight.
no, I
Right.
mean, you're right, but what I'm
Well,
saying is with the idea that, like, we'll do the work to put all this together to bring next week for the idea of being approved. I will say that $300 and whatever is ridiculously cheap per month compared to what I pay for mine, so. It seems like a good deal. The technology's there, it's brand new technology.
Actually, the guy went down on his bid.
Yeah, it went down from, originally from March of last year, the price went down, which
And so let's say we go with one of these, what do we do with our old ones?
they'll get rid of it for us.
Atlas, yeah,
Canon will do the same.
yeah.
Yeah, it was in
And
there.
there's no value to them?
God, no. Let's put it this way, when I, like my Canon image press, that by the time, I pay $3,500 a month for. When it's done, I buy it for $1, because nobody wants it. Parts are, after 5 years, the parts become dinosaurs, they become hard to get. So, it's a weird thing to think about, but it really does make sense to keep leasing a new copier for the perfect downtime. I mean, well, in my business anyway.
Okay, we'll get,
Yeah, we'll put something together for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Sure.
okay, number 4 is Earth Day.
Okay, we had a wonderful turnout for Earth Day, and we had the most gorgeous day ever. The Scouts came, Troop 3055, which was here, Troop 33, and I cannot remember the troop number for the Girl Scouts. Pardon? Yeah, I can't. But we had a lot of families, which is exactly what I wanted to see. It's a lot of parents came with their kids to go out and do specific roads that weren't real busy and stuff like that, so that they could show their kids and teach them all about this whole program. We took about 70 bags, we had 85 people total, and we had about 70 bags of garbage, along with a mattress, a desk, and tires.
Thank you for the tires, Johnny.
And Mary Beth, thank you, because you did a lot with signing people, and I appreciate it. And Sandra Coe joined me that day, and she did a lot of work, so I thank you also. So we had a very nice day. It was very good.
Okay, thank you. The Fire Advisory Board, that was sent to us probably 2 months ago, the letter.
From the last meeting.
Yeah, from Matt. And basically, they want to, I think, they want to appoint Gary Aber, I think, was the, I don't have the letter with me.
I'm pulling it up right now.
There's 3 vacancies.
Yeah, whoops.
Well, I think the letter was also asking for approval to increase the number of alternates on the board by 2.
Yeah, he's asking for 2 alternates. And, I mean, they recently lost a member. They're looking to, one member from Pleasant Valley, 1 member from South Point, 3 members from the community. Rick Fay just passed away.
Mr. Cardigan's.
Mr. Cardigan's leaving, and they need 2 alternates on top of that. So, I do think that they do need the alternates, because I do know that in talking to Matt Cady, that they run into problems of not having enough members here to hold quorum to actually then, look at documents and give any input. So, I don't know what we need to do to effectuate this, but I don't think it's just a simple motion from the floor on this one. I think we have to kind of edit. I think we have to have Paul write something for this,
Yeah.
but I think giving him the 2 alternates, I think is a good thing. We do have to,
And Gary Aber was mentioned, I don't.
it forwarded, Gary lives in the town. I mean, being that, we'll need a resolution for all this, yeah, so I think what we'll do is I'll reach out to Paul and have him draft all this up for next meeting, that way we can add the 2 alternates properly, and we can have Mary Beth advertise, and really, just because Matt says Gary Aber's interested, doesn't mean Gary Aber's interested, so we'll reach out to Gary Aber in the
Yeah.
meantime, and if he's interested, we'll appoint him next week. So,
Okay. Fall soccer programs? Sandy?
Sandy?
Yeah, we've discussed this a little bit, Frank Mazzeller and Tracy, what we'd like to do. Tracy would like to really revamp the program like she did for spring, meaning that we would fall more in line with the clubs. So the way the clubs do it is the soccer season is fall and spring, so we would like to have that option of having it combined, but you also have to give people the ability to sign up just for fall or sign up just for spring. We also were looking at the soccer top program. She wants to make that a little bit more robust. And then the limited distance travel is growing astronomically, so we'll have some additions to that. We're looking forward to the possibility of a couple of all-girl teams. So I'll have, I'll work with Paul and with you for the resolutions, and obviously with Tracy, so.
Sweet.
Well, Sandy, you probably should have stayed up there.
Yeah, well,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
you might as well stay up there for the rest of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Office of the Aging normally, pre-COVID, had exercise programs in here. So she approached me to see about having it outside under the pavilion. So I was hoping she would have given me a little more information for tonight's meeting. Normally, they meet Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. So I asked her if she can combine it and maybe just meet twice a week. And we're working on the logistics of how they would work under the pavilion. Frank, we had spoken the other day, about,
Moving the picnic table.
yeah, possibly not moving the picnic tables and working, having the social distancing. They do need a chair to work with besides sitting at the picnic table, but those picnic tables are real heavy. To be moving them even twice a week, I think, is a bit much. So I'm waiting to hear back from her, to see about combining it. And she called me back, and I thought I'd have the information for tonight, but I don't have it all. But I would think you'd probably want to do like we're doing with the rug hookers, maybe waive the fee for this year because of COVID. They didn't pay a fee when they were in the building. So, they do have a certificate of insurance and, so we'll have all that in place. This other venue I've been working with Councilwoman Albrecht on, which is Sherilyn Dance Studio. This is a little bit different. This is a commercial endeavor, and she wants to have a pretty big venue. So right now, there's a lot of things that are up in the air. I don't think she came tonight. No.
I had talked to her earlier, so.
So there's still information we need to get from the insurance company. We're looking at the crazy COVID guidelines that are effective as of May 1st, May 19th. So,
And they're very misguided. We got this stuff from Mr. Hicks, who works with Mark Molinaro, but there's conflicting answers on the thing that he gave to us, so.
and this is all from the governor's site. This is all from the governor's site, so you have one set of guidelines, and then embedded in the guidelines are the interim guidelines
Yeah.
that are another 18 pages worth of information, so,
And plus, Gary Beck is gonna do some So he's gonna
Right.
go out and do some measurement for the Katy Field, where this is gonna be, because we really should have a count of how many we're supposed to have in that field, and they have a formula for it.
Yep.
So we'll have that also.
So there's still a little more work that has to be done before we can have, some educated information.
Sure.
Okay, I think that's it for me.
Thanks, Andy.
Before we do the rest of the stuff, my mind. For Earth Day, the Smart Climate Committee had a really nice setup out here that taught all of us how to use less paper, less plastic, less everything. It was really, really wonderful. But they had two women also from Cornell that spoke about composting. Well, I thought composting was easy. I thought you were supposed to throw everything in a can and it just kind of soaked up. And, well, I got an education because I learned a lot that day about composting. And hopefully someday we can do a composting station up at the highway garage. So, because it's something that. So, but anyway, it was really, really interesting, and we got a lot out of it. It was wonderful, so.
All right, at this point, I will make a motion to open the meeting to the public for agenda items only. Anything on the agenda, whether we talked about it yet or not.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, before we go, I just want to remind everybody, 3 minutes, no dialogue with the town board. You state your case, and that's it.
Jay Meyer, Clark Heights. So here's something that, my brain's a little bit slow some days. So in 2018, we got a grant to buy the new town hall. In 2020, you're telling me you want to go through, got an assessment was done for roughly $5.1 million for a demo and a new building up there. So when we were sold on this new town hall, this building here was guaranteed to sell for $1 million. Now you're telling us that you're going to take that building, you want to go through and sell it because it's a turd of this town, and people spoke against it then. Now you want to put a building up at Reynolds Park, which is not for nothing. You got to remember this. You got a grant for that building up there. If I remember, hold on, please. So if I remember correctly, with grants, you have to be very careful if you do a demo in a building.
Your phone's,
Not mine.
is someone's phone vibrating on this table?
I'm off.
It was my fault. I didn't realize it was my phone.
So with having grants, you want to go put another building up there, but I believe if you go through and demo that building, you have to repay your grant. If you go sell that property up there, you lost your grant.
No.
Hold on, please.
Wait a minute,
It's not
no
that.
dialogue.
Oh, sorry.
So the question is, we're putting this friggin' the horse before the cart again 60 million times in this town. So I believe Reynolds Park was supposed to be a park, not for a building for a town hall. That got voted down years ago and wanted to buy the other property with Conklin's. So, not for nothing. We're moving backwards again. Helen Aldrich Park, that's a joke also. $650,000 for a friggin' toilet? You're killing me. You people better start waking up, and I understand a lot of you people are new on the board. But you know something? You gotta look at who you're working for. You're working for us. There's no arguing, there's no yelling, there's no screaming. You gotta understand, we're all residents that promote this town and live in it. Thank you.
Hello, Scott Cookingham, West Road. Also to go off of Jay there with the town hall, couple things I just want to know. I mean, the gentleman gets up here and talks about the different money in that. Are there any site plans for any of this? You know, I mean, you keep going around of what you want to do. When I went and built my, 103 West Road, I had to come up here with the site plan, and every month you guys, not you guys, the zoning board, changed things on me. There's not one person here that's seen a site plan of what's supposed to happen for the town hall. I heard here earlier how much each person needs, which is good, but how many offices are going in there? How many, what's going to be for storage? What's going to be the bathrooms there? We're having enough issue up at Helen Park for 4 toilets. I mean, how many do we need in the town hall to make it accessible? These are the different things that, people, there's nothing against putting up, bathrooms in Helen Park, but like, Mrs. Albrecht stated, there's a building up there already, there should be a site plan so it does keep it look the same like that Morton building, because I went up there and looked at it, and it's a nice Morton building. Okay, so keep the colors all the same, but that's part of the site plan. If he's doing all this work or the company's doing all the work, there should be a site plan for what's going on up at Helen Park, and there should be a site plan that, right on the wall, boom, there you go. This is the town hall, this is what we're looking at for $6 million. Not just a number. He's talking about, height room. I don't know how many times they played basketball in here. An 8-foot ceiling is fine to have a meeting in. So those are some of the things that, I think a site plan or something, they keep stating that this was done in, 2000, this was done in 2020, and so on. The same thing. Having a site plan, a visual so that people can see, in the different phases. I saw 2 months ago, phase 2 for up at Helen Park, which is fine, but that was the first time I think anybody here saw that. Okay, so I mean, just having a site plan of the things that the town wants to do, you guys want to do, which is great. But then everybody else being able to know, go click on to the website and say, oh, this is what they want to do at Helen Park. Not have 12 different people stating on face crack what they think's going to happen. The firehouse is going to get something, who's going to get what, We need to, all work together to get these things. So, thank you.
I was just going to bring up a couple of points. Can't ask a question because for some reason the board's not allowed to give us a response in public, but it's pretty ridiculous. The Eagle Scout project, I think it's great. I'd like the board to make sure that the proper insurances, do the scouts carry insurance? Oh, yeah. And if there's any paperwork that's got to go back and forth between our carrier and the scouts. All right, the other thing I want to get to is the building. Mr. Bollner, when he went on, he said, we basically need 13,000 square feet with the courts. The building that we purchased is 18,000 square feet. He said a new building at Rettle Park would be $6 million. Taking the building down that we purchased and building a new building would be $5.1 million. So numbers don't seem to be jiving here, unless he's using that $857,000. But still, we got the extra demo cost to take down the existing building that's up there. So if I understood him right, he said $5.1 million to demo and build a new building, or at Rettle Park to build a new building with $6 million. So I think there needs to be some clarification there. The other thing about the site up there, if you decide to renovate the building or take it down, you got to keep in mind that that building's on the side of a hill, and it's problematic. The offices won't have windows in the back. There's problems with building in a hill. One of the things you might want to consider is bringing the building up front, put the parking in the back, but then you got to build a retainer wall because you got a cliff there. So there's a lot of things that should be looked into, but still the numbers didn't seem to make any sense to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Carol Campbell, 122 Marshall Road. Couple of things. Number one, I think you did a motion to allow the highway superintendent to sell some inventory. I believe that you should have a legal written motion. It should be done with a legal written motion to protect the town. You're going to be accepting money for this. I don't believe a simple resolution here by a few members is the way to do it. I think it should be legally done. The second thing is on the transfer of $80,000 from the highway fund to the road improvements. My question is why? We have a budget. The budget was approved. The highway superintendent has money in the budget. So my question is, $80,000 is a lot of money to move to do roads or whatever the improvements are. I would think that the town already budgeted for those. So I'd like an explanation as to why we're moving $80,000 at this point. The third thing is Helen Aldrich improvements. Again, what's the hurry? I am in favor of our parks having bathrooms, but again, I think we're putting the cart in front of the horse. We need, and I see that there's a resolution here, we should not be moving $1 until we see an RFP that shows us how much money we have to move. You don't move money without knowing how much you need. Thank you for your time.
Don't start yet. Got my hearing aid still, and the mask didn't tear it off, so we're okay. Yep, I'm old. But I spent a lot of time developing a petition for a permissive referendum. I wasn't allowed to get up and speak a second time, but I really was very disappointed in the fact that you made little of that, belittled the work that went into that petition. You may not agree with it, that's fine. Some things I agree with, some things I don't. But to say that it was just a technicality, no. It was filed on time, it was given to the town clerk on time. It was signed by the required number of signatures, and the Supreme Court rejected your objection, and it is a fact that it was approved. It's been mentioned here before with a discussion on the town hall that this sale of this site was mentioned as one of the things. I don't know what the ramifications are with the sale of the proposed new site, but I think you should find that out before you do anything. And I also think, and I'm sure it's probably not a popular thought, but you're looking at town hall location, you got these figures. If you're going to put septic and water in a new area, and Redell Park is under consideration at all, without building the town hall, you can build a ball field with the bathrooms and the water and plan for the expansion to the town hall. Just a thought as I was sitting there. If you want, I was very happy with the local paper. It gave a pretty clear, concise thing about the permissive referendum. And to pass something now that goes around a permissive referendum after one has been done properly, to me, is a slap in the face for every citizen. I have gray hair, yes, but I'm not against recreation. And the people that signed that petition didn't all have gray hair, I know that. There were young ones, old ones, they were townspeople.
Anyone else?
Hi, Mary Meyer, Clark Heights. I guess I just want to know do we know how much is in all the rec accounts? Every single one, not just the two that were referenced at the last meeting. That's my first one. I know one account, there was some money from Redel, which I don't know if that's included in those two accounts that you guys planned on draining for this. And my other question is, this is the first that we even heard of putting the new town hall on the Redel. And all this time, this is the first time that we're hearing that that's even a possibility. I'm wanting to know, are there restrictions with what can be put on that land that he donated? Do we know that? I guess we all would want to know that. There has to be restrictions. There's restrictions on everything, it seems like. There's restrictions between the two rec accounts that you guys didn't even know which one to use. So I guess all the townspeople want to know, how much is in all these accounts? Have we figured it out yet? We're already getting ready to do another resolution for Helen Aldrich, but we still haven't found out how much is in all these accounts, for one. And I want to know what restrictions are on Herb Redel's property that's been sitting there for 25 years. Thank you.
Good evening. Don Sagliano, 35 Ryan's Run. I'd like to draw attention to Town Board Resolution 1052-2021, which was adopted and passed by this body in January, authorizing the engineer to draft design plans and bid specifications for the purpose of soliciting bids for the improvements at Helen Aldrich Park / Baker Field. That was 4 months ago. No RFP has been created, yet you're going to speak to a resolution to authorize spending up to $350,000. I think that you probably want to wait until the bid specifications and the RFP is presented in order to make the most informed decision. Construction costs are changing every day. Lumber costs are up 40% since the first of the year because there was one glue factory that was shut down, so we're having great difficulty at Arnoff getting wood for our crating supplies, and we're not even in construction. So I think before this body decides to spend $350,000 in a resolution, it may be a good idea to wait until a RFP and a bid is done. I totally agree with supporting recreation. I was on the board when Redel Park was voted down twice. Once, it was voted down after we had gone into contract to purchase the old Simon's Manufacturing Building, right next to, adjacent to Redel Park. That building would have been able to supply 500 amp service to Redel Park Field, which we could have put any kind of lighting, electrical, or support any kind of infrastructure at that field, and it was voted down by the residents. I think consideration should be maintained, and that's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Kathy Kruger, Wells Road, Pleasant Valley. I like what the man back here said about that you board are here to represent all of the residents in Pleasant Valley, whether you agree with them or not. But you must listen to the residents of Pleasant Valley. When we had this petition signed, again, we never once said we had anything against the rec department. We never said once that we had anything against improvements of Helen Aldrich Park. What we wanted was information. We wanted you to be open and honest with us and transparent. And we were asking questions, where did the $350,000 come up with, and did you even have the funding for it in the fund that you have written here that you hand out to us that night? I believe it was February 17th, if I have my dates correct. If I knew you didn't have the funding back then, you must have known you didn't have the funding back then in the fund that you cited here. Had you been able to answer our question or had even been willing to answer our question, none of this would have happened. You wouldn't have had divided the town the way you did. It's not his people, it's not your people, it's all the residents of Pleasant Valley. We all have a right to have a say in what's going on. That's why we have a referendum. And for you to take away our right to vote, and then when you take away our right to vote and you go to the Dutchess County Court and they turn you down, and then you give what do you want to call it, misinformation, alternative facts? I don't know, where you say you just didn't have it passed because of you didn't get it notarized correctly. That is not what was written by the Supreme Court. What you said was untrue. And you've made lots of mistakes since you've been in this administration. We have the right to find out if the information you are giving us is correct or not correct, because you've given us a lot of incorrect information, and you've made a lot of mistakes, and you're involved in a lot of lawsuits because of it. So yes, we the residents here in Pleasant Valley have the right to hold you accountable for what's going on here in town. And yes, the reason we have a right to have a petition, as Mary said, now they don't have that right anymore because we're going to use another fund. That's really a sad way to end everything up.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Tracy Santiago, Davis Road, Salt Point. I didn't prepare anything. I thought I was just here to talk about some possible fall soccer programming. First of all, I'd like to thank the members of the community that put together the petition that you worked very hard on. I do want to thank you, both you and Ms. Kruger and Mr. Sagliano, because it says that you care about the community as much as I do. In terms of wanting to represent everyone equally, Ms. Kruger, Mrs. Kruger, you said you wanted to be represented, and yet when people that I knew had the opportunity to approach, at the dump where you had your petition, you struck up a conversation about minivans and had your clipboard the whole time, but you didn't present it to everyone. And I'm sorry, I'm a little unprepared and a little I don't like this. I don't like public speaking. I don't like confrontation. But I put my petition of support on social media, and I went around at the ball fields asking every single person whether they signed it or not, or whether they agreed about what I was talking about or not, because I felt every person had the right to the information, not just the people that I thought would sign the information. If you're generally concerned about the community as a whole, you put it out there for everyone. In terms of, to address what you all at this table are supposed to do for us as a community, there's not a single person at that table right there that I didn't vote for. You are all there, and I voted for you, each and every one of you. And I voted for you because I hired you to make these decisions for the betterment of our community. And some of you ran on a platform of improving rec, and you were working on it, and you did it. You all voted unanimously in favor of it. I was excited. And then it's pushback from the community. And I can't say that the pushback came from a bad place, because I know it came from a good place. It came from a place of caring and loving our community, because that's the same place where my petition of support for the project came from. And then to switch it up, lastly, technicalities on that petition, which I have seen, where multiple people signed multiple times, I have a problem with. I also have a problem with some of the dates on there. The legibility of some of the signatures, the location of some of the people who signed the petition, that I don't feel that they were actually Pleasant Valley residents. That's my time. Thank you for my 3 minutes. But thanks for caring.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I move to close the meeting to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Sorry, did that get picked up in the microphone? Never mind.
Okay, number 9 is the, I'll read the resolution. Town Board Resolution number 5100, 2021, authorizing the budget transfer for hiring of highway department personnel. Whereas the town of Pleasant Valley Highway Superintendent has made a request to fill a vacancy in the position of motor equipment operator, MEO, in the town highway department, and whereas the town board has received the request, has reviewed the request of the highway superintendent, and it has been determined that an adjustment to the budget will be necessary. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the appropriation for the hiring of an MEO for the highway department, and be it further resolved, the town board hereby authorizes the following budget line transfers. Amount $65,000 from line DA 0599000 to line DA 5110100.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do have this. Am I to understand that this person is going to be designated to the roll-off truck, correct? John? Or who?
Well, it could be either this person or one of my other crew, yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is that we're shorthanded. The highway garage has always had 9 guys on staff, and I currently have 7. So we are shorthanded, but that is the determination. If we can get this guy, then we can get the roll-off truck, in service and rolling and try to save some money.
And this is also, if I'm not mistaken, John, just to clarify, this is also because you did not hire the 2 positions you had last year.
Right, last year, because of COVID, I kind of waited, because we were on again, off again. We worked, then we didn't work, then we were 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And I just thought it would be foolish to hire 2 guys to have them sit home half the time and waste the town's money. So my hope was, coming into the new year, this past winter, that I would have been able to hire these 2 guys, because currently I have 7 guys and 10 plow routes. So that math doesn't work.
I get that, but right now we're not plowing anything.
No, we're not, but I still need, so here's the thing right now. I have 7 guys. One of those 7 guys is a mechanic. So right now, he has to be on the road, which means he's not in my shop fixing anything. So if he's in the shop, I only have 6 guys on the road. So I have an equipment operator, somebody in a truck, and 2 guys flagging. That leaves only 2 guys with shovels in their hands all day. And if I get a guy that calls out sick, I can hardly even put a crew on any of our busy roads because it's unsafe. And if anybody's been on Rossway Road in the morning, or Marshall Road in the morning, or several other racetracks in the morning, you know, it's difficult enough with the proper crew than it is with a shorthanded staff like I have right now.
And then winter's a whole nother story.
Yeah, well, that's just its own ugly monster. And we suffer, I could have 20 guys on staff in the wintertime, and if we get a bad winter, it's, you know, it's up to the gods at that point. It is what it is. I mean, you know, but during the summer, you know, we should have a decent staffed highway garage, because it's dangerous for the guys on the road, even with the full staff.
And so this couldn't wait till the new budget, correct?
It can, but we're behind. I'm behind because of COVID. I'm behind from being short-staffed last year. I mean, we're behind. And,
Also, if we get the trash hauler truck, that's gonna
Yeah.
actually save us money. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
thank you.
Well, you must stay right up. Don't move.
Nope, I'm here.
Okay, Town Board Resolution number 5101, 2021, authorizing budget transfer for road repairs. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Highway Superintendent has advised the Town Board that additional funds are needed for road repairs, and whereas the Town Board has reviewed the request of the Highway Superintendent and has determined that an adjustment to the budget is appropriate, now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board hereby authorizes the following budget line transfers. Amount, $80,000 from DA 0599000 to line DA 5110447.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All right, so John, I got a couple of questions here.
Yep.
First off, how much has been spent on roads already in this year? What was in the budget, what has been spent?
Actually don't have that number for you. I apologize. I didn't actually think to put that number together as far as what has been spent up to this point this year. But what I will tell you is that the $80,000 I'm asking for is an entire materials line that was cut out of my budget. And that's the line that I use to fill potholes and take care of potholes in the town, as well as take care of Ward and Clinton roads. Just Ward and Clinton roads, for instance, in the springtime, cost me almost $16,000 just in materials alone. It's about 1,000 tons of material just to get those roads back in shape after the winter, and that usually comes out of that budget line. And again, those are a continuous maintenance road, more so than blacktop, unfortunately, because of the nature of dirt. Like I said, that $80,000 is a lot of my pothole money, and it's also extra money for blacktopping, which we need to do drastically.
Did you file an agreement with the town, the 284 agreement?
Yes, we did.
You have that?
Not with me, but I do have a copy in my office, yeah.
We have a copy, okay. And, what question was I gonna ask? So, where's the list of the roads that we're gonna be working on? Don't we have a list of roads before we go and spend money on them?
Well,
Usually in your 284, if you
Right.
fill it out, you have your list.
right, so, yeah, right, so what we're doing this year is the development up on, Timothy Heights is gonna be blacktop, and I need to replace a lot of the drainage up there as basins and pipes, which also is gonna come out of part of that materials line as well, so we can get that into shape and then move forward from there with whatever we have left over. Right now, we're in patching.
Unfortunately, I'm still not sure if we're even legally allowed to transfer this money.
Okay.
I think we should really table this till we have an attorney here to ask that question.
Okay.
They prepared this for us. They made this for us.
Well,
The only reason why I asked for it is because it was money that was cut out of my budget, and there was no discussion to me as to when it was cut. When I got my new budget, I was like, oh, the whole line's gone. What happened? So, and I used that line last year. I used about 2/3 of it, I think, last year, give or take. And again, it's money I need for the roads. It's money that's always, that line has been there for a long, long time.
I think upon moving this money, we do have to have him fill out a new 284.
Correct.
But I don't, talking to Paul, moving the money in is not a problem. It's just creating a new 284 afterwards.
Okay, what line is this actually being taken out of? Because that's not clear on this resolution.
It's the highway general fund.
No, it's a highway fund balance.
Fund balance, sorry.
Okay.
And what's the total of the highway fund balance? Does anyone know?
I was told what the estimate was. I don't have that exact number, but I was told it was over $1 million.
Quite a bit over. You want to know, John? It's about 2.4 million.
Okay, so it's way over.
All right, but I mean, there are some things that we really should have, I think.
All right. And I'm not looking to waste money. I mean, this is all money that's going into the roads and, you know.
I like to, from now on, I believe in trusting and verifying from now on.
I don't blame you one second.
So I would love to see the 284 from last, and I would like to see I'd like to look at the line that was cut, to see that, and I have time to look at that.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so I mean.
Because I have last year's, as a matter of fact, I have the budgets going all the way back to 1993, so that's not a problem.
I would like to is this a rush at all?
No, it's not, no, it's absolutely not a rush. I'm not going to run out of money tomorrow, but I'm currently taking money out of other lines in that same funding area to get blacktop from the plant. Like I'm taking blacktop money that I would use for, you know, regular hard surface blacktop for when I repave Timothy Heights. I'm currently using some of that money to do potholes because I don't know if anybody's seen some of the winter damage this year, but there's some car eaters out there. And, you know, we're trying to get those fixed as quick as we can.
All right, so there was no rush to this at all. I say we motion to table it because this is technically a workshop. And we could have easily done this for next week, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So it's really good for you to be up here on the workshop explaining this. I could ask the question.
Sure.
You can answer the question.
Absolutely.
We get all the forms that we're supposed to have, and everything goes nice. And then we take the resolution and we do it right at the right meeting.
No problem.
So I move that we table this resolution until next week at least.
And if you have time this coming week before the next meeting, stop by the shop and I can go through all the numbers with you and I can show them, you know, going back years and years.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll second Councilman Delvecchio's motion to table.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think that's it for me, right?
Yep, that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution number 5102, 2021, authorizing expenditure from the Recreation Trust Fund, Parkland, in the amount not to exceed $350,000 for improvements at Helen Aldrich Park / Baker Field. Whereas the town board owns recreational lands known as the Helen Aldrich Park / Baker Field, located at 27 Hibernia Road, Saw Point, and whereas the town desires to install standalone bathhouse restroom facilities, which include drinking water, a drinking water well, a subsurface disposal system, septic tank, and leach field at Helen Aldrich Park, Baker Field, and whereas the cost of the improvements is estimated to be $350,000, and whereas the total anticipated project cost of $350,000 will be financed with funds from the Recreation Trust Fund, Parkland, and whereas the town board has determined that improvements is a type 2 action as defined by 6 NYCCR 617(5) parentheses C parentheses 9, and accordingly the town board hereby expressly determines that this action is not an action that requires environmental review pursuant to the provisions of the New York State Environmental Review Act, SEEKR, or pursuant to 6 NYCCR Part 617. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board hereby authorizes that a maximum expenditure of $350,000 from the Recreation Trust Fund, Parkland, to pay for the improvements at Helen Aldrich Park, Baker Field, including related professional fees and contingency expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes. I still believe that we should wait at least till we have an RFP and some actual figures and some numbers. We've given this to Mr. Bolner, or I don't remember his company's name.
CPL.
Since January. I remember we passed a resolution to have those things before us, before we did anything. And he hasn't provided them to this day yet. So I honestly think we should table it and at least make him do that, and then we can go from there. I just think it's fair to every single person in this town.
I'm not disagreeing.
I don't disagree with you either, except this isn't moving the money anymore.
This really, I mean, like.
Listen, I got that. And before we go take another step in moving money and all that, let's take a step back. We're not in a rush anymore. This is obviously not going to happen this year. And that's what started, the rush was what started the problems. Okay?
Well, actually,
Hold on, let me finish, please. And so because we had that, it caused a lot of problems, it caused a lot of rethinking, it caused a lot of whatever. Bottom line is, I think we should wait until we have all the proper information from the person we commissioned to do the work. We have yet to receive it. Let's wait at least for that.
So, here's my real question that I wanted to, I do agree with you, John, I do. And I do think that, I mean, this doesn't really move money anywhere, it just says that we're gonna spend the money out of this fund to do this project, so it's kind of earmarking funds, but, I guess my question is, do we have to really wait 2 to 3 months for an RFP on this? Do we have to wait can we have him send it out sooner? That way we can.
Well, I mean, not for nothing. We paid for it back when, and we still don't have it.
Well, I don't know if we authorized the expense, I don't know if we paid it or not, but.
Well, we asked, I mean, we wanted to have all the things that we needed, and I honestly believe we should say to him, look, this should be your top priority, it should be done in a week.
Yeah.
Personally. I say, if nothing else, let's put it to him and then just.
Well, here's my question is, it really requires a conversation with Greg to see if he can get us numbers by next month's board meeting? I mean, that would be.
I'll take it.
I don't think the makeup of this board is not, what I'm saying is, I do agree with John, the makeup of this board is not changing between now and next month's meeting. If we can get Greg to actually give us real figures, and then it's an easier number for John, Q, whomever to digest. We're still moving forward with this, right?
We're just not moving anywhere.
Yeah, we're still moving, so I motion to table this till, what month are we in, May?
Second.
Till June's board meeting, because by then we should give Greg enough time to give us a real figure.
Yeah, he needs to get enough time to do it, that's for sure. So, we'll give him some more time.
So, yeah, we'll bring this back up at the board meeting, by then we'll have numbers, let's hope, all right?
I second the motion.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion that we go into executive session 105.1H. Oh, sorry, real quick before we do that, scratch that motion. This was just sent out, more of an announcement, I think, before we do this. They're doing a Veterans Camping Weekend, Thursday, June 3rd through Sunday, June 6th at Wilcox Park. And we're going to put information on the website about this. But, thank you. Now I make a motion that we go into executive session for 105.1H. Has to do, oh, yeah. You second it? All in favor?
I second.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, they want to put it off until
I make a motion.
We're not on, we're not on.
No, we are, the speakers are off.
1, 2.
They're on, we're
Aren't you
on.
gonna record it?
I am.
Well, how's it gonna be?
Because that's on, just the speakers are not on.
Okay.
So I make a motion, we come out of executive session at 8:58 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Good.
Okay. Pass these down, and you got these two. Okay, so I just want to address a situation here that has been problematic for me and for the bookkeeper. And the situation has become an issue within the town. Councilman Aldrich has continually, both privately and publicly, criticized the town bookkeeper, Melanie Fastisi. This criticism has caused great stress and anguish for Melanie and her family, and it has to stop. The packet that I am handing out gives an accurate breakdown of what happened with the salaries in the 2021 budget, the funding for Helen Aldrich Park, and the Gary Beck County personnel issue. As you will see, none of this had anything to do with the bookkeepers. Based on erroneous accusations against Melanie, a public apology from Councilman Albrecht is essential in order to move forward. In the effort to avoid further issues, questions regarding the bookkeeping office should be discussed with the board prior to public meetings and/or in executive session. I just think the criticism of Melanie, she was going to quit. She was distraught after last Monday's meeting when she was blamed for the problem with the funding for Helen Aldrich, also the Gary Beck, not meeting with personnel. It's all in the packet, and I think if you have any questions with it, I or Melanie would be glad to answer it. But I just think that, I was asked to resign. Melanie was asked to resign. It just can't go on like this. It's just embarrassing to us. We look like a bunch of dopes in front of the public. And I just think it should end. And that's what I'm asking it to do.
I agree. All the, and I've asked for before, all the attacks on whoever should not continue at all. And if any other department, we would have to take these things into executive session. So we really should refrain from doing anything like that. I think we have a supervisor. Supervisor is in charge of the day-to-day operations of the building, and that's his department. And we as councilmen need to just inform ourselves of the issues and make intelligent, informed decisions based on all the facts and facts only, and then make our vote or whatever we may do, or our resolution or our motions based on that and that only. We just had a great conversation, and I think we should continue to have great conversations moving forward. I think we owe it to the people of this town, and the constant jabbering at whoever should not happen any further. Just not right.
I agree.
Well, that's what I add. I mean, anybody else want to comment on it? Yeah.
I don't know. I will say that it doesn't make us look the most professional, but I do think that as Johnny and I have had some of the debates are healthy to have. I think that Johnny may add something that I don't necessarily bring up, or vice versa. And I know we're not talking about that specifically, but I do think that, I don't know.
Well, debate is one thing. I mean, I enjoy a spirited debate better than anybody. I've used it as a tool for enjoyment for myself on many different things for whatever reason. But my thing is, we really should, stop with the constant try to get you kind of thing, or get somebody, or to whatever. It's not professional, it's not right. We need to move past that. Like I just said, we just had a great conversation. It was productive, and it was professional. Everyone took their time, gave their opinion, and that's the way this is supposed to work. And I would like to see that go forward more and more. So that's that. I can't stress that anymore. Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.